Help change it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I am.
Okay,
I'll give you an idea.
Here's OD.
Are you familiar with Palmdale?
I'm going to need you to be drug tested.
Welcome to Eat the Narrative, the place where mainstream myths get shredded and the truth hits harder than a press release ever could. This is a brand new channel. I've posted 3 videos so far, and the support has already been amazing, so thank you guys for that. If you guys like this content, please consider subscribing and drop a like or a comment.
If you care about the community, why not stay there and change it?
Well, first of all, does anybody else move?
What do you mean?
Who the hell else don't move? How do you think suburbs were created?
But wait a minute.
What do you mean? How do you think white flight was created? So everybody else get to move, but we can't move?
But if you act like you care about the community as much as
guess what?
you do, stay
there.
But
I'll answer your question. Do you know why? Because when African Americans were living in black neighborhoods, they also had economically depressed housing values, and the reality is they were not able to
change it. Help change it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I am.
Okay,
I'll give you an idea.
Here's OD.
Are you familiar with Palmdale?
I'm going to need you to be drug tested. Seriously.
Yeah.
Do you even know today, we've done the stories in Florida, when somebody's black selling their house, the appraisers will come in and literally give them a value $100,000 to $300,000 less because they're black? You know that's actually happened, right?
You'll take one story and say that.
Oh my God!
On how many occasions has that happened?
Are you serious?
Do you think a message like
why don't you go ahead and Google? Why don't you go ahead and Google?
How many times has that happened? No, I believe it's happened, but how many times has that happened?
The New York Times literally just did a story talking about the systemic racism that exists within housing appraisals. This is a fundamental problem. I'm trying to see you're living in a different reality.
What progress are you making by saying that?
What progress?
So what you're doing?
I'm trying to end that. Okay. Do you know how inherent? Okay, hold on. You say you're Middle Eastern, right?
Hey, you there. If you're enjoying this content, please consider subscribing as it really helps this channel out. These videos take a lot of effort, and I love to make them, and your guys' support means the world to me, so thank you. Let's get back to the video.
You're trying to...
Hold on. You said you're Middle Eastern, right?
I am, yes.
How would you feel? How would you feel?
Yes.
If you're selling your home, you've got a home that you know.
Right.
And you put upgrades in it, and you know your home is worth $500,000.
Yeah.
And somebody comes into your home and they see your photos.
Right.
And they see your family. And then they go back and they go, $350,000. You go, what the hell?
So you tell that story.
Wait, one second.
To get people to be convinced that's happening?
It's actually
out of 1,000 appraisals.
Oh my God.
Out of 1,000 appraisals, how many times does that happen? Out of 1,000 appraisals, how many times does that happen?
You want to pull that up? You want him to pull that up?
That's your world, though. Out of 1,000 appraisals, how many times does that happen? Let's just say it happens.
It is a significant issue in America.
Oh my God!
And wait, one second. And then when the woman, a black person should not have to remove their photos from the wall and remove black art and remove black books to have a white appraiser then come in and go, oh, it's actually 550. One second, because I'm going to show you how it impacts generationally.
Here we go.
So when you, follow me here, because this is housing in America. When you then get that lower appraisal, you then cannot sell your house for the higher value, which then means you are not then taking those proceeds and being able to invest, being able to send your kids to school. And what I'm trying to explain to you is there is a world out here that for some reason you're like living in Unity world that ain't the real America.
Brother, you have the wrong guy. And I'm trying to
get rid of that stuff.
You have the wrong guy.
Now, Roland may not be everyone's favorite when it comes to delivery, which can be a little frustrating. This is something that I think the left needs to work on. Even though I think it's warranted to shout it from the rooftops, it's clear that messaging isn't the most successful in today's political climate. We need to find other ways to get our messaging across, and that is a work in progress. But this time, I think Roland is spot on. The numbers are undeniable, and that data is right in front of our faces. This isn't a matter of opinion, it's fact. Homes in predominantly black neighborhoods are consistently appraised 23% lower than those in white neighborhoods, leading to an estimated $16 billion in lost equity. Patrick's attempts to brush this off as insignificant just don't hold water here. Roland is calling it out plainly, and the truth is, this issue is hitting black families where it matters most, in their wealth and future stability.
You have the wrong guy.
I'm trying to get rid of it.
Okay, good for you. I am as well, but you have the wrong guy here. And here's what I mean by that. So when you ask the question, what do you do if they appraise your house $350,000 less, right? That's your question. Okay. I don't see myself as a victim. I stopped looking at myself as a victim a long time ago. And by the way, being Armenian and Assyrian, you know what a lot of people in the Armenian community do? You know what a lot of people in the Armenian community do? They sell victimhood mentality. I'm raised with that, which is the statement of mechka. I know you don't know what the word mechka means. Mechka means, oh, poor Roland. Oh, poor PBD. I don't see myself as a victim. And the other part is when you use one story as an example to divide and get people even angrier because out of 1,000 appraisals this happened one time, I don't think you're unifying when you say a statement like that to say, hey, this is what's taking place all the time. But going back to it, so you left because you wanted better economic situation for yourself.
Listen to what you just said. Again,
I'm having a hard time listening to what you just said when you're saying
it's so fundamentally flawed because when you say, "Oh my God," you see yourself as a victim.
You do.
No,
you're selling it as a victim.
No, I'm not. What I'm selling is a reality. What I'm selling is when this is again. Since you didn't, I guess you couldn't pull it up. Okay.
Oh, he did pull it up.
Okay. The Biden administration, the Federal Housing and Finance Agency, released 47 million appraisal reports to the public for the first time. The appraisals, which were compiled between 2013 and 2021, present evidence of a persistent, widespread practice in the home appraisal industry to give higher values to homes when the occupants are white and devalue them if the owners are people of color.
That's such bullshit. That's such bullshit.
What really stood out to me here was Patrick's refusal to acknowledge the facts as he kept trying to argue his way around them with logic that just didn't stick. I find that this happens a lot with the MAGA right. You can say, here, take a look at this data right here. And simply because they didn't find it for themselves, they'll say, who is that study done by? Or I'll have to see that myself. Then they never go and do the actual research. Though, how could they find the data for themselves? Because it seems like they rarely base their ideologies on facts rather than just opinions and hearsay. Take, for example, a case from California. A black couple had their home valued at $995,000. After removing their personal photos and having a white friend pretend to be the owner, the second appraisal came in at $1.5 million. That's a $500K difference, all because of perception. I think some common pushback to this anecdote would be, oh, well, that's just one story. You can let that represent the entire population, which under normal circumstances is fair pushback. In this situation, though, it's not. There's data to back up this story showing that it doesn't happen just once, it happens quite frequently. Meanwhile, the right won't apply the same thought process to challenge their own beliefs on something like migrant crime. Trump says it's bad, so it must be bad, even though every other study in the country and around the world shows that migrant crime, both legal and illegal immigrants, is significantly less than natural-born Americans on a per capita basis. That means that any one legal or illegal immigrant is statistically way less likely to commit a crime compared to any one U.S. citizen. Sadly, there is no call for data checking when it comes to that issue on the right. That's a different topic, though. So anyways, while no one's put out an official statement blaming race, let's be honest, it's hard not to see the pattern. We may not know the exact total number of black homeowners that are affected, but the issue is clearly widespread as we can see multiple repeatable results showing this, and it demands attention. Brushing it off isn't going to cut it, no matter how much Patrick argues otherwise.
You know why?
Hold up.
Let me tell you why that's such bullshit.
They actually took the reports and showed the data, and now you call it bullshit.
Of course I call it bullshit.
So you asked for the data and the facts.
No.
And now you give your opinion
first of all,
because you don't like the facts.
Bro.
Come on, man.
Do you run a company?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so when you run a company, how much shit can I find in the OPEX? How much
in the what?
With OPEX. When I go into my balance sheet and I look at my expenses, my monthly expenses, what I'm paying for, rent, employees, benefits, workers' comp, I can give a number and say, we lost $280,000 this year. And it's like, oh my God, we lost $280,000. And then I open up the balance sheet and then boom, I'll see you're moving your face like you don't know what I'm talking about.
First of all,
when I see a data like this, tell me the whole story. To jump to conclusion with something like this without seeing the entire story is ludicrous to make a comment like that. But
analyzing the millions of appraisals by using census tracts as a proxy for neighborhoods and comparing communities with nearly identical housing stock, two researchers found that the results showed a clear correlation. The higher the proportion of white residents in each community, the higher the appraised value of individual homes. They compared similar data. See, again, you want to reject the facts. And what I'm trying to explain to you is
I am refusing to constantly have people give data without me having access to the entire thing for their own benefit to divide
So what you're saying is, in order for you need access to the 47 million home appraisals.
I'd love to see
yourself.
I would love to see it.
Okay, guess what? It's a federal agency. File a FOIA.
I'd love to see it.
File a FOIA.
But here's file a what?
A FOIA.
Okay, so I'd love to see it. You know why? Here's the part. How often do you see data being used and we don't know the whole story? Both sides. How often?
Well, first of all, we see data out there, but what I'm saying, I'm looking at data, actual data, and I'm also looking at a reality. And here's what I'm saying to you. And again, this is what you, for some reason, you're not fully accepting. What is the most consistent way Americans have been able to actually build wealth? It has been through housing. That's been historical. And when you are black in America, this is not an opinion. This is not a perspective. It is a fact. What we have seen is when you have been unable to enter the housing industry, meaning covenants saying you can't sell to black people, then when you actually buy a home and they've been grossly undervalued, that then limits you from being able to sell your home at a higher value and now take the profits and then create a business and then be able to send your kids to college. And what I'm saying to you is when that has been persistent, when you look at the appraisals, one, when you look at inability where you're buying a house, two, all of a sudden now you see a clear way how African Americans have been impacted, not historically, but still in present day. And what I'm saying to you is, whether you are Democrat or Republican, I want that to change.
In all fairness, Roland delivered some powerful, fact-based points throughout the discussion. Patrick did raise some legitimate concerns too, such as the importance of government transparency and publishing concrete statistics. But even in the absence of exact figures, the broader picture is still crystal clear. This is a major problem affecting black families across the country, and it is just one of many other systemic issues that we as Americans need to band together to face. That's a wrap from Eat the Narrative, where truth isn't polished, it's weaponized. If you guys like this content, again, please consider subscribing and drop a like. Thank you so much for the support already, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.